Welcome to week number 30 of Scott's Reading Sports Today, ladies and gentlemen. I am back with my dad again this week. Week 17 of the National Football League. This will be the last time we get to pick some of these teams this year, so let's get right into today's picks. So the first game out will be the Green Bay Packers heading into Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions. And I'm going to take the home Lions in this one. I think Matthew Stafford's going to have too much offense in this game. Stafford struggled a little bit last week, but I think he's going to bounce back this week. I'm going to take the home Lions.
Really a meaningless game in the last week of the season. Typically in those games, the home teams win. No Rodgers, no win for the Packers. I'm going to take the Lions in this one.
Next up, the Houston Texans heading into Lucas Oil Stadium to take on the Indianapolis Colts. And Bucs fans are going to be happy here. I'm going to take the road Texans in this one. And that'll let the Texans jump over us in the draft. And we can move down another spot, which is perfect. That'll get us into the top 5. So I'm going to take the road Texans. Too much offense, and I just don't trust Jacoby Brissett right now. I'm going to take the road Texans.
I'm going to go with the home team again. I think the Colts want to finish on a good note in front of their fans. I think they'll be more motivated than the Texans on the road. I like the Colts to win this one.
Next up, the Chicago Bears heading in to U.S. Bank Stadium to take on Case Keenum and the Minnesota Vikings. Very good team this year had the Vikings been, and I'm going to take the home Vikings. Case Keenum's been playing absolutely phenomenal this year. Latavius Murray's running the ball pretty good, and that defense has just been explosive as we all thought it would be. So I'm going to take the home Vikings.
Maybe one of the easiest games of the week to pick. I think the Vikings are going to win this, and they're going to win this one big.
Next up, the New York Jets heading into Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. This game's going to be closer than people think because I don't think Brady's going to play the entire game. I think they'll let him play for probably a half and then probably sit him out for the rest of the game if it's a blowout, which I think it will be. So I'm going to take the home Patriots to win by 10 points.
The Patriots will win this one as well. I agree with Scott. I think it's going to be a closer game than most people think, but I do think the Patriots will get the win in this game.
Next up, the Washington Redskins heading in to MetLife Stadium to take on Eli Manning and the New York Giants. I'm going to take the road Redskins here. Could be Kirk Cousins' last game as a Redskin, but I don't know if that's going to be true. People are saying he could get traded somewhere. I just don't see it happening. I'm going to take the road Redskins in this one.
Redskins have actually won 4 out of 5 games. The Giants are a dumpster fire. I think the Redskins are going to go into New York and win this one big.
Next up, the Dallas Cowboys heading in to Lincoln Financial Field to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Foles is going to do just enough in this game. I think the Eagles are going to get a win here and get some confidence going into 2 weeks from now when they got to play again because they're off next week on a bye. So I think that the Eagles are going to get a win at home against the Cowboys on Sunday.
I think if Dallas had won last week and they're still in the playoff hunt, I would have picked Dallas in this game, but they have nothing to play for now. So I'm going to take the Eagles at home to win this one.
And next up, the Cleveland Browns are heading into Heinz Field to take on Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Congratulations, Browns fans. I have you guys going perfect this year. Well, flipped around.
Perfectly awful.
Yeah, perfectly awful, exactly. I'm going to take the home Steelers in this one. Big Ben looked good last week against the Texans, who are a much tougher defense than the Browns. So I'm going to take the home Steelers to win by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I wish I had better news for the Browns fans, but I think they're going to continue their winless streak, and the Steelers are going to roll this one easily.
Next up, one of the biggest games of the weekend as the Atlanta Falcons head in to Carolina to take on, the Carolina Panthers head in to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome to take on the Atlanta Falcons. Another big game for them, for the city of Atlanta. After Saturday's game between UCF and Auburn on Saturday, they get a big game for the Falcons on Sunday. This is a must-win for the Falcons. If they win, they're in. I don't see them winning this game, though. I think Cam Newton's going to be too much in this game. That defense is too good. I'm going to take the road Panthers in this one.
Interesting. I like the Falcons in this one. I watched the Panthers and the Bucs last week. The Bucs made, Jameis fumbled 3 times, and they only lost by 3. and that was at home, and now they're going on the road to Atlanta, and again, Atlanta must win. I like the Falcons to win this one over the Panthers.
Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs are heading in to Mile High Stadium to take on Brock Osweiler and the Denver Broncos. The Chiefs are finally getting back to where they were at the start of the season, finally starting to feed Kareem Hunt as they should. One of the best running backs in the league, in my opinion. One of the up-and-coming superstars in the NFL. I'm going to take the road Chiefs, Kareem Hunt, Alex Smith. Too much offense for Kansas City here. I'm going to take the road Chiefs to get some momentum going into the playoffs.
I agree. I think the Denver has nothing to play for. Kansas City's on a roll, 3 in a row. I think they'll finish the season 4 in a row. I like Kansas City in this one.
Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars are heading in to Nashville to take on Marcus Mariota and the Tennessee Titans, who still have some playoff hopes alive, but I don't think they're going to get it here. I think Blake Bortles is going to bounce back. He actually played pretty well last week, but that defense just gave up last week against San Francisco. So I think that the defense is going to show up this week, and I think that the Jaguars are going to get a road win over the Titans.
In some ways, the Jags would be better to lose this game, let the Titans get in, and then the Jags would probably host the Titans as the 6th seed. But I think the Jags are going to play with pride. They're going to go into Tennessee and win this game.
Next up, the 5-10 San Francisco 49ers, 4 wins in a row for them. I do not think they will be drafting a quarterback this year. They found their franchise quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is their guy from now on. He looks very good. 4 straight wins for him. But I think that win streak's going to end here as they head in to LA to take on Todd Gurley and the Los Angeles Rams. Too much offense in this game. Todd Gurley's put up 50-plus fantasy points the last 2 weeks for me. And unfortunately, it did not help me out 2 weeks ago. But it definitely helped me get 3rd place this year in fantasy. So I'm going to take the home Rams to get a win over the Niners.
I actually think the Rams are going to rest their starters, if not for the entire game, for part of the game, to make sure they stay healthy. I think San Francisco is going to go into LA and win this game because LA is going to rest their starters.
Next up, a meaningless game pretty much as the Buffalo Bills head in to Hard Rock Stadium to take on Jay Cutler and the Miami Dolphins. I'm going to take Shady McCoy, Tyrod Taylor, and this Buffalo Bills team. The Bills still have some playoff hopes alive somewhere, but I just don't see them making the playoffs, but I do see them winning this game. Too much offense for the Bills. They looked really good last week against New England in a tough loss, but I'm going to take the road Bills in this one.
I think Miami's going to win this one at home. I think Miami's one of those teams at home that win games when you don't expect it. Like New England, for example. I think they will beat Buffalo at home this week.
Next up at the StubHub Center, the Oakland Raiders are heading in to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers need some help this week to get into the playoffs, and I think that they are going to do what they need to do first, get that win against the Raiders, and then hope for that help. So I'm going to take the home Chargers to get the win. Melvin Gordon and Phillip Rivers have been connecting all year, and I think they will continue to do that. I'm going to take the home Chargers in this one.
The Raiders have nothing to play for. I wouldn't be surprised if they sat Derek Carr for part of this game. I think the Chargers will win this game and they'll win it big.
Next up, the Arizona Cardinals are heading in to Seattle to take on Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. They'll be keeping an eye on that Atlanta and Carolina game because if Carolina beats Atlanta and then Seattle beats Arizona, the Seahawks are going to the playoffs, and I think that is exactly what's going to happen. I think that Russell Wilson's going to blow up this week against a pretty okay, mediocre Arizona Cardinal defense. And I think that the Seahawks are going back to the playoffs, and they're going to get the win over the Cardinals.
I do not think the Seahawks will make the playoffs, but I do think they will beat the Cardinals this week. But little nugget, the Cardinals have actually won 3 of the last 4 games they played against the Seahawks. But with that said, I still like Seattle in this game.
Next up, the New Orleans Saints are heading in to Tampa and Raymond James to take on Jameis Winston and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis has been looking better the last couple of weeks. Still a little bit too many turnover problems for him, but his accuracy's gotten better. I think he's gotten a little bit better, and I think he could be our franchise quarterback, but I don't think we're going to win this game here. I'm going to take the road Saints. Kamara, Ingram are just going to run the ball all over this Bucs defense. Gerald McCoy's not going to do not do much as he's done all year. So I'm going to take the road Saints to get the win over the Bucks on Sunday.
I agree. I think the Saints have something to play for. They're going to the playoffs. They want to stay sharp and go into the playoffs on a high note. Bucks really have nothing to play for. So I think the Saints will win on the road in this game.
Next up, the Cincinnati Bengals are heading in to the Baltimore Ravens in M&T Bank Stadium. Ravens, it's easy. Just win and you're in. Just get in. Just get into the playoffs and hope some things go your way in the playoffs. And I don't think it will go your way in the playoffs. I think you guys are going to get knocked out in the wild card round by Jacksonville. But I think you guys are getting in here. I think the Ravens are going to get the win here. Too much defense. Joe Flacco's going to blow up in this game against the Bengals. Absolutely Marvin Lewis's last game as head coach for the Bengals. I'm going to take the home Ravens.
I agree. I think the Ravens have a lot to play for. Obviously, they win. They're in. For my friend Joey Bergen, I'm going to take the Ravens in this one to win by 2 touchdowns.
And that will do it for this week's episode of Scott's Week in Sports today, ladies and gentlemen. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Leave a nice comment down below and comment and share these videos with your friends. And subscribe if you are new. And I will maybe post a video on Saturday. I will be in Atlanta Saturday night, Saturday afternoon, my apologies. It will be UCF and Auburn. I'll try and post a video on Sunday, my reactions to that game. And I will see you guys right back here on Scott's Week in Sports. Go Knights!
Go Knights!